Imagine this. Inside the most complex and delicate machine ever created, the human heart, a life hangs in the balance. A surgeon with decades of experience is manually pushing a thin wire, a catheter, through winding arteries. One wrong move, 1 millimeter of deviation, and the result is catastrophic. For years, this has been the pinnacle of medical skill, a high-wire act where human limitation is the only thing standing between a patient and a new lease on life. But what if we could remove the tremble from that hand? What if we could replace the uncertainty of the human touch with the absolute precision of a magnetic field guided by a supercomputer? What you're about to see isn't science fiction. It's happening right now, and it's being driven by one tiny company trading for just a couple of dollars that most of the world has never even heard of. In the next few minutes, we are going on a journey. First, we'll dive deep into the terrifying reality of modern heart procedures. Then, I'll introduce you to the groundbreaking robotic technology that is making those procedures safer and more effective than ever thought possible. We will dissect the company behind it, Stereotaxis, look at its financials and uncover the explosive growth that's already happening behind the scenes. But there is one critical catalyst, one single regulatory decision expected in 2025 that could act as a launch code for this stock, potentially sending it into the stratosphere. It's the secondary hook that could change everything, and I'm going to reveal exactly what it is and why it's a game changer right at the end of this video. So stay with me. To understand the revolution, you first have to understand the problem. Cardiovascular disease is the #1 killer on the planet. Millions of procedures are performed every year to treat conditions like cardiac arrhythmia and irregular heartbeat. The standard procedure involves a technique called catheter ablation. A doctor physically pushes and twists a catheter from an entry point, often in the groin, all the way up into the heart. They are, in essence, flying blind, relying on skill, experience, and fluoroscopic imaging to navigate a labyrinth of living tissue. The risks are significant: perforation of the heart wall, damage to healthy tissue, blood clots. The success of the procedure and the patient's life rests entirely on the physical dexterity of the surgeon at that exact moment. It's an art form, but in medicine you want science, you want repeatability, you want perfection. Now, what if we could change the entire paradigm? This is Stereotaxis, trading under the ticker STXS. Forget everything you just saw about pushing wires. Stereotaxis has created a system that turns the surgeon into a pilot. Their flagship product, the Genesis Robotic Magnetic Navigation System, doesn't push anything. Instead, it generates a precise, computer-guided magnetic field outside the patient's body. The tip of the catheter is magnetic, and it's gently and precisely pulled through the heart. Think about the difference. It's the difference between trying to push a wet noodle through a garden hose versus effortlessly guiding it with an invisible force. The level of accuracy and control is something a human hand simply cannot achieve. This isn't just an improvement, it's a redefinition of what's possible. It reduces risk for patients, it enhances outcomes, and it transforms one of the most high-stakes medical procedures into a controlled robotic ballet. So you're probably asking the same question I did. If this technology is so revolutionary, why is the company a penny stock trading at just $2.83? This is where the story takes a fascinating turn, where we see the disconnect between world-changing technology and Wall Street's perception. Let's look under the hood. In its most recent quarter, Stereotaxis reported a loss of 5 cents per share. And for many investors, the story ends there. It's not profitable, I'm out. But the smart money knows to look deeper. That 5-cent loss wasn't a failure, it was a victory. Wall Street analysts expected a loss of 7 cents per share. The company is managing its cash burn and moving steadily toward profitability far faster than anyone predicted. But here is the midpoint revelation, the number that should make every single investor stop and pay attention. In that same quarter, Stereotaxis reported revenue of $8.8 million. That number crushed analyst estimates by over 10%, but that's not the headline. The headline is this, that $8.8 million in revenue is nearly double the $4.5 million they generated in the exact same quarter 1 year ago. Let me say that again. A company with world-changing robotic technology is seeing its revenue almost double. year over year. This isn't speculative, future tense hope. This is explosive, real-world demand, and it is happening right now. The market is waking up. In 3 of the last 4 quarters, they have smashed revenue expectations. The demand for this technology is not just growing, it's accelerating. And the world is taking notice. This isn't just a US story. The dominoes are already falling across the globe. Stereotaxis recently secured approval for its revolutionary Magbot catheter in China, unlocking access to one of the largest and fastest growing healthcare markets on Earth. Then another domino fell. In late 2024, its next generation Genesis X robotic system received the crucial CE mark approval in Europe, opening the door to widespread adoption across an entire continent. The momentum is undeniable. The revenue is surging. Global regulatory bodies are giving the green light. The company has even made a bold statement that it intends to reach profitability without requiring additional financing. A signal of extreme confidence that should ease any investor fears about dilution. Analysts are beginning to connect the dots, with current consensus estimates projecting an upside of over 111% from its current price. But even that, I believe, fails to account for the single biggest event on the horizon. We've talked about the technology, we've seen the explosive revenue growth, and we've witnessed the global expansion. But the biggest domino of all, the one that could unlock the largest and most lucrative medical market in the world, is still waiting to fall. This brings us to the promise I made at the beginning of this video, the secondary hook. The one catalyst that could fundamentally reprice this entire company in 2025. In 2025, Stereotaxis' next-generation Genesis X robotic system, the same one already approved in Europe, is expected to gain FDA approval here in the United States. This isn't just another regulatory hurdle, this is the final gateway. US approval would spark mainstream adoption across thousands of American hospitals, triggering a potential cascade of sales orders. But here's the kicker, the detail that makes this catalyst even more powerful. The new Genesis STXS system is not just for electrophysiology. It is designed for much broader endovascular interventions. This means Stereotaxis could expand its addressable market exponentially, moving into treating strokes, peripheral artery disease, and other conditions. The FDA approval isn't just opening a door, it's opening a portal to a much larger universe of medical procedures. So let's put it all together. We have a 5-act dramatic structure playing out in real time. The inciting incident is a life or death problem in heart surgery. The rising action is a company with a revolutionary robotic solution that is seeing its revenue nearly double. The midpoint revelation was that explosive growth, recontextualizing it from a speculative play to a high-growth business. The climactic build-up is the wave of international approvals in China and Europe. And the climax, the final act that delivers on the entire story, is the pending 2025 FDA approval for Genesis X in the United States. A trigger that could unleash its technology across the most valuable healthcare market in the world. This is a company transforming medicine with visceral, tangible technology. It's writing its story in the present tense, with active, dynamic growth that's already being reported. While the broader market remains fixated on tech giants, this small-cap innovator is quietly building the future of surgery. The question isn't whether robotics will change medicine. That's already happening. The question is, will you be watching from the sidelines, or will you see the future before it becomes obvious to everyone else?